Your continued support of the CoinSeries channel is much appreciated. Today, we will talk about Ripple and XRP, as well as most of the cryptocurrency and money. In light of this, my deepest hope is that you are all having a fantastic day or night, no matter where you are. Recent events include the Federal Reserve's announcement that it would be speaking out. The central bank has made some interesting remarks as of late. What they're doing behind the scenes is something that we should all be paying close attention to right now. Accordingly, the moves made by the Federal Reserve in 2023 are essential. It was time for bed. Why is Fed now making such a splash, considering everything we've talked about? As a result, open banking and API services are experiencing explosive growth. Terra provides access to a variety of API services, including RippleNet and others like it. We have previously spoken about that. There may be ties between Fed and many influential people in the industry currently. The fact that the Fed is publicly talking about stable coins and CBDCs makes this meaningless, though. The head of the Federal Reserve, Waller, has confirmed this. According to him, crypto is like his reference to baseball cards. CVC regarding unnecessary. They look to be practically giving up on a CBDC at this point. I know I've said it before, but I think this only proves that central bankers will employ stable currency for retail transactions while they are given CBD. That is to say, it makes perfect sense. Under the auspices of a national digital currency, CBDC, and public stable coins. I have been broaching that subject for a while now. On top of that, I believe that method would be far more efficient. On the other hand, I mostly think this is why CBDC platforms are starting to prioritize stable coins. Ripple was an early participant among platforms that integrated stable cash with CBDCs. Yet, there have been a plethora of prior tests and proofs of concept pertaining to the Federal Reserve. They do, for example, take note of the trials of the Regulated Liability Network and the Project Cedar for cross-border testing of foreign currency with Singapore. In addition, India said that it was working with the Fed on cross-border CBDC. That is quite fascinating. Outside of this, we also need to think about Jerome Powell. Chair Powell informed House Democrats that a stable currency is necessary. Bill Powell told CBC and later made public that the Federal Reserve would need Congress's approval before taking any action. The 14th of February. Now remember, alright? Legislation and coin projects have already taken center stage this year. A gentle reminder that MiCA is creating quite a stir in the Simple Coin Initiative area, where it will launch in Europe before the year comes to a close. In the United States, we are being compelled to take action. It is also having an impact on crypto legislation and efforts for stable currencies around the world. Among my key arguments in favor of stable coins is the fact that they must be regulated. Furthermore, it is probably the initial concept that comes to mind when discussing CBDCs or even central banks, because, well, you guessed it. Consistent money settled at $7.5 trillion by 2022. Listen, this is more than MasterCard's payout for 2022. As a result, stable coins are being thought about. Yes, they have shown up. Major ones. Nobody is more aware of this than the bankers and central bankers. In my opinion, this is the most compelling argument in favor of investigating the role of big companies in relatively minor quint initiatives. Please, I implore you. There are a lot of connections to Ripple and Stellar on their site. Hedera is deeply connected to them. The well-written words are easy to read. However, a CBDC will be used this time. Apparently, that's a far more divisive matter. Since the US is so far behind other countries in the PC industry, some have even gone so far as to say that the country would scrap its plans for a CBC if it decided to shift its priority to PCs. Furthermore, a stablecoin may soon be available. I can understand how that could function. Although, it seems like there's an overwhelming amount of CVCS happening worldwide, especially with the BRIC powers. Not to add that they are significantly ahead of time. As a result, I believe that fewer Americans are taking part in CBC initiatives. According to their logic, A stable coin is sufficient in place of a CBC. I see it as a win-win situation since the US will have both a CBC and a stable coin. Getting beyond that, there can be no return to the US dollar from its role as reserve currency. Now, according to Waller, this was uploaded on the 15th. By going down the page, we can observe that they address multiple concerns related to the BRICS nations, Russia, and China, all of which have been working to weaken the US currency for a while. Having said that, the dollar's outsized role in international trade remains mostly unchanged. The catch is this. That is so, isn't it? These little wounds will add up to something big eventually. In my opinion, the value of the US dollar is at stake. When I step back and look at the larger picture, I see the US dollar continuing to lose out on important global trade treaties and seeing a substantial decline in value overall. What will sustain the dollar as a global reserve currency is the most critical topic to consider while planning for its future. Of course, we've been here before. William Waller, governor of the US Federal Reserve, made the stunning statement that DeFi may boost the value of the dollar globally. Many believe that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies will one day replace the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. According to him, most DeFi trades use stable money, and the value of these tokens is directly tied to the dollar. Thus, it is reasonable to believe that expanding trade in the developing world will only serve to solidify the dollar's dominant position. The potential for products to be tied to many currencies is an interesting feature of this industry, that will happen regardless of what. Therefore, this argument does not really convince me. On the other hand, I think that is the crux of our present crypto debates. Specifically, would it be feasible for us to travel across time? On July 8, I released an article in which this was addressed. Statements made by the International Monetary Fund played a significant role. I said the US will collapse, and the currency would go along with it. The world is being presented with the perfect problem and its perfect answer at the same time, as stated in the statement. This is the matter that nearly everyone is worried about. There are enormous projects and concepts in this field that might set in motion a technological revolution unlike any other, while also greatly enhancing the effectiveness of the global monetary system. I think it's a good idea to dollarize additional settlement currencies and systems, along with the continued expansion and creation of new currencies by the BRICS countries, will expedite the establishment of the new system. Focus on the primary connections to the IMF, XRP, SDC, and SLM. This facet also encompasses additional initiatives. Blockchain DLT is already being used by some, and more will come after. Nevertheless, preparations are being made to construct the infrastructure without taking size into account. At long last, here is the International Monetary Fund report that we received in June 2022. A slew of technical, geopolitical, and economic issues have brought the world's monetary policies to the brink of a dramatic shift. The US dollar may collapse, but it will rise again. What this means is that there is a lot of pressure for the current financial system to fail before the new one can be put in place. That is correct, we have always planned it that way. What are the BRICS doing, is a question that continues getting asked, as if the world around them were completely silent. Sandman, is this the process? What's going on? Everything about it is. They clearly have a strategy to implement the new system. Regardless of my whereabouts or actions, everyone treats me like a tinfoil hat. With everything going on, it's hard to take a step back and just say, yeah, this is all real. So much is transpiring. It is not backed by any evidence. There is no endpoint in sight. If you look at the big picture and how everything fits together, you'll see that this is true. Taking a look over the past 4 years, particularly starting in 2020, sheds light on their end goal. Their primary argument was the significant decrease in the use of actual currency as a result of the pandemic. This is why it's crucial to implement digital assets and electronic payment systems. The usage of physical money will obviously decline. Every single person was lounging around their homes, perusing Amazon. Everyone was accustomed to buying things online. That is a major issue, no doubt about it. Well, would you believe it? Seizing the opportunity, they declared, "Hey, look at this, we need to introduce a digital system, we need to introduce digital currencies because no one wants to use physical cash anymore. Physical money that is unclean, infested with germs, and not appropriate for human consumption is." Yet guess what? Now that the BIS, the IMF, and the World Bank have all been involved in these proceedings, in regards to the Israeli banknote. Nevertheless, Russia and all members of there has been an unexpected outbreak of a currency war. Alright, the US is losing its grip on the BRICS. At this point, everyone thinks the dollar is going to crash. The petrodollar deal has its detractors. This has already been covered, hasn't it? The argument is that we need to think about other people's perspectives. Even if nothing is happening, the US should lead the way and exploit this technology. However, if it isn't a significant acceleration, then we should be worried. The other side of the coin is that this might all lead to the technology being used more widely. These innovations are deserving of all the attention they can receive as we are leading this technological revolution. The video ends there. Please, like and subscribe again. De parte, muchas gracias.